President Biden, though, will travel to Oklahoma today to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Biden will tour the Greenwood Cultural Center this afternoon alongside several of his top cabinet members and advisors. He's also expected to deliver remarks at the site of the deadly violence where a white mob murdered hundreds of black Americans. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton has more.
Once the site of horrific racial violence, Tulsa's Greenwood district transformed into a community memorial as residents and visitors marched and honored descendants and the few living survivors. 100 years ago, an estimated 300 black residents of the affluent Greenwood neighborhood were murdered by a white mob. 10,000 of them fled as their homes and livelihoods were destroyed. Nehemiah Frank's family lost their tailor and shoe shine shops in the massacre.
I feel like this is our final chance to put pressure on the city and the state who we feel are responsible for the massacre. And so we feel that this is our final chance to get restitution and repair from the city of Tulsa.
The question of restitution has been the center of conversation and tension as black residents and lawmakers press for reparations.
That's what we're saying out here today, reparations now for those survivors, for the descendants, and then also rebuild Black Wall Street.
But Tulsa's mayor, G.T. Bynum, says payments to survivors would divide the city. He declined to speak to NBC News. In solidarity with survivors, John Legend and Stacey Abrams backed out of a ceremony.
What do you think is the overriding emotion of this weekend?
For the mayor and maybe others, I think that they are hoping that this will wash over quickly and then it's back to regular business for them. For myself, for my community, I feel like it's the sunshine coming in and, shining light on 100 years of oppression and generational trauma.
And do you feel like you're still carrying it on your shoulders today?
Oh, without a doubt.
Damian Roselle's family lost their grocery store in the massacre. He believes Black Tulsans' best hope is to lean on each other for support.
A lot of the emphasis this weekend is on the destruction that took place, but not really the rebuilding. And so holding my granddaughter right here, it's all about the future, not so much about the past.
And rebuild Black Wall Street together against all odds, just as they did in 1921.
And Mara, of course, we've been talking about connective tissue that have drawn Americans together for so long. Of course, Tulsa is a reminder of so many Americans who never felt that connection. And these pictures come back 100 years later as a stark reminder of what has happened in our history and what so many Americans today are still fighting for.
Yeah, it's a really challenging story for several reasons. One of them is just we were talking about veterans and the connective tissue that can build, and that's absolutely correct. Of course, then you look at what happened in Tulsa, and we have images today of hundreds of World War I Black veterans from World War I being rounded up and put into the equivalent of local, concentration camps, and many of them lynched. It's a very harsh, difficult history that really is, I think, still prescient today when you think about we still have survivors from this. The other reason this is an important story is because I think Americans, especially white Americans, but Americans in general, tend to be very good at forgetting history, but also tend to think that slavery was a very long time ago and that discrimination was a very long time ago. The reality is not, that's just not the case. So we have individuals, I spoke actually to Dr. Olivia Hooker, who was one of the last survivors. She died in 2018. I was fortunate enough to get a chance to interview her both when I was in high school and then again at the Wall Street Journal. And she survived the massacre as a little girl. She remembers people walking through her backyard with torches, the mob, as she and her parents hid under their table in the dining room watching them. And she had just gotten a baby doll, and she had the clothes for the baby doll that her mother had made, and they were hanging on the clothesline. And the mob returned to burn the doll clothes, a baby's clothes, on the clothesline. I mean, that's a story that I got a chance to hear in person. And so I think the connective tissue is also trauma and plunder. And this is not the only town in America where this happened. There's an image of those veterans there, I believe. But it doesn't mean that the American experiment is for naught. What it means is that it's far more complicated and has been far less inclusive than we want to believe. I think that the way forward, of course, as a country together, is to acknowledge this history before you move forward. Doesn't mean you have to stay there forever. It means you need to acknowledge it and you need to remedy the pain, whether through reparations or other means, and then you can move on together. And that has to be part of our American story moving forward, or it will come back to haunt us in forms like Donald Trump and other ways that we haven't even imagined.
Jonathan, the first step to acknowledging that history is learning the history. We were discussing this earlier. I went to a very good public high school in America and was not taught about the Tulsa Race Massacre that took place 100 years ago. Today, President Biden traveling to Tulsa, where he's going to make a speech. Not just ceremonial, he's also going to introduce some new policy changes that get at the root of what happened that day.
Right, and what you said, Willie, is the main event, is that the idea that this is a shameful and forgotten moment in American history, one that I didn't learn about in school either, that this is something that has been not given it all the attention it deserves. So the president, yes, he has some policy he's going to announce in Tulsa today, federal initiatives to try to address the disparities in the value of black-owned homes, going to try to help out black-owned small businesses. But it's as much as it is about the policy, it's about giving the presidential spotlight. Joe Biden will be the first president to travel to Tulsa to mark the anniversary of this massacre. He will be there to acknowledge, the pain felt by the people, the survivors, yes, but also their descendants and others in that community displaced, the community destroyed 100 years ago. And we know that President Biden speaks on the topic of grief and shows empathy like no other political figure in American history. And we should note it's the contrast between his predecessor, who just over a year ago chose Tulsa as the site of his comeback rally, his first rally after the pandemic came in, and who was going to have it on Juneteenth even, the commemoration to mark the end of slavery. They eventually moved the date by a day. He saw an arena full of empty seats, but there were protests that greeted him outside and a real divisive message. That's the exact opposite of what Biden is trying to do today.
Maura, I love how you talked about how we need to acknowledge this. We need to, as a country, we need to understand this. It doesn't mean that the American experiment is derailed. So many people, when they start hearing people talking about what happened 100 years ago or 300 years ago, will take that as an affront to the American experiment.